The two things that I always want to see in a film are originality and humanity. None of this superhero stuff that's like 99% special effects, so like these multi-trillion dollar extravaganzas and all these remakes and reboots and sequels. There's simply way too much of those. Sometimes they do get lucky. Like there's a couple Marvel films out there that actually are really good and actually do score a slam dunk, but they're few and far between. I love it when films really capture true essence of humanity in original ways too. Case in point, today's review, 1996's Lone Star, directed by John Sayles, written by him also. I don't know who John Sayles is. I've seen his filmography on Wikipedia, but yeah, all the films that he's done have slipped my mind. But this one right here actually is very well done. I really enjoyed this. And it has some pretty familiar faces in it. Chris Cooper, Elizabeth Pena, Chris Christopherson, Matthew McConaughey, Joe Morton from Terminator 2. Yeah, it's good. It's pretty stacked with great stars. Now, the probably the best thing that this movie has going for it is its general storyline. Quite often, when a film's storyline is really is as great as this, I just love it when it happens. Like just talking about the storyline alone really gets me going. Like when I reviewed Judgment Night from 1993, just talking about what it's about, the storyline of it, really got me going. And I think that Lone Stars is also going to get me going. So the movie starts off with a skeleton being dug up. The movie takes place in a small, well, not small Texas town, but town on the Texas border, and these two guys dig up the skeleton. Well, they find the skeleton, and so they do some investigations, and they check out the Mason ring and the badge, and they conclude exactly who it is. The sheriff of the town, whose name is Sam Deeds, played by Chris Cooper, looks into it. And the thing with Sam is that he's always being compared to his father, who was also on the force. And his father, only shown in flashbacks from like 1960s, is played by young Matthew McConaughey. So yeah, he's being constantly compared to his father, and his father was very well respected. And he was one of the gophers for the sheriff at the time, whose name's Charlie Wade, played by Chris Christopherson. So as they figure out who the skeleton belongs to, like with the corpse of what the skeleton is, who was that skeleton before, like when he was alive. Sam digs deep into it, and he learns more secrets about his father and about Charlie Wade that can really devastate him, and really gets to know exactly more things about his family's past. There's quite a few subplots to this, one of which involves Elizabeth Pena, who is a high school social studies teacher, and she used to date Sam when they were teenagers, and their romance is rekindling again. I thought that was a good move on their behalf. Like writing wise, I thought that was good. But there's this other story which involves Joe Morton's character. You may remember him as Miles Dyson from Terminator 2. He's in the military, and yeah, his whole family is like his subplot is pretty confusing. Like just knowing how his thing ties in with the main story and how he ties in with one of the more major characters who happens to own one of the bars downtown. Yeah, it's a confusing subplot, and that's ultimately the biggest downfall of the film is that I would say that that particular subplot doesn't really make a lot of sense. The story's really all over the map, really hard to pinpoint. While everything else, the things with Sam and Elizabeth Pena's character are very well done. Like they're easy to follow, but still being complex. And you compare everything else to Joe Morton's storyline and how everything connects to him. And yeah, I thought that I can see that if John Sayles was trying to make this film almost Shakespearean by having two separate storylines that some are somehow reflective of each other. I can see him wanting to do that, but he really didn't need to because, as I said, that storyline doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If you would have just scrapped that and kept everything else, the movie probably would have been a lot better. Actually, no, the movie would have been a lot better that way. But what's done is done. Yeah, the essence of the film really is Sam digging up the past about his father and Charlie Wade. And when we get the flashbacks from the '60s with when Charlie Wade was with when he was the sheriff in town, Chris Christopherson, he is freaking brutal as Charlie Wade, and I would actually consider this to be Chris Christopherson's best performance, even though he's so evil. He's just so you're just drawn so close to him. Almost everything about this film is so great. The way that each secret is dug up, and how everything connects to each other is really great. You have great acting, great writing by all. It is a truly great film. Well, maybe it doesn't hit the top of the line, but it does come close. I'm going to give Lone Star 3.5 stars out of 4.